Volodymyr Zelenskyy returned to the White House today to make his case on how to end Russia's war with his battle-weary country. Key European leaders were there, too. Mr. Trump spoke to Vladimir Putin afterwards and said he's now making arrangements for a trilateral meeting between the two warring countries and himself. Unlike in February, there was no shouting over who holds which cards. But getting a peace deal is still a tough hand to play. For tonight's interview, we are joined by Senior Fellow from the Council on Foreign Relations, Charles Kupchan. Charles, good to be with you again. What do you make of the possibility of a trilateral meeting? Is that a big breakthrough, a small one?
I would say it's a good sign, right? Because you're getting building momentum. Coming out of the Alaska summit, you had this large meeting today, Zelenskyy, 7 European leaders, unprecedented that you would have that kind of moral and political support for a Ukrainian leader. In the middle of this, Trump picks up the phone and apparently calls Putin and says, hey, let's do the next step. Let's make this trilateral. So, you know, there is a framework that's emerging here that has potential. Are we anywhere near the finish line? No. Are there some very, very tough issues in the coming weeks and months? Yes. But, you know, the train has left the station and it's moving forward.
I don't want to risk missing what the tough issues are, so let's go right to them. What are the things we should keep our eyes on as this train moves forward?
I would say 2 key issues. Number one, Putin seems to have asked that Zelenskyy cede to Russia the 30% of Donetsk province, which the Russians don't yet control. If that were to happen, Russia would have effectively taken over what's called the Donbass, 2 provinces, Luhansk and Donetsk. These areas Putin kind of sees as part of the Russian homeland. There are a lot of Russian speakers there. He's been at this since 2014 when he fostered a separatist uprising. Is Zelenskyy going to be prepared to give away land that many Ukrainians have died to defend? It's strategic land, it's industrial land, it's the heartland of Ukrainian industry. So that's one key issue. That's a bitter pill. And then the second key issue, and it's really make or break, is will Putin agree to let Ukraine go? That is to say, the 80% of Ukraine on the other side of that ceasefire line. Is he prepared for Ukraine to make its own decisions about its future and integrate with the West?
And then would a third item be this question of security guarantees, which is to say whatever is agreed to, that there is some mechanism that makes sure Russia basically doesn't just use the time to reload and do this again soon?
Yeah, I mean, the security guarantee is really essential to that second point, which is nobody trusts Putin. Nobody should trust Putin. He can sign a document that says, I promise I will never attack Ukraine again, and it's meaningless. So what does Ukraine need to feel that it's emerging from a peace settlement with a future that is free and clear of Russian ambition and aggression? It needs, number one, a sizable army, and number two, security assurances, guarantees, whatever you want to call them, that would say, if we are attacked again, Britain, France, Germany, United States, Poland, other countries are going to come to your assistance. Without that kind of assurance, it's going to be very hard for Zelenskyy to say yes to this deal.
20 seconds, Charles. What's your view of the summit in Alaska at this stage?
You know, we didn't know much about it when it took place. The press conference was pretty much empty. Now I would say there's building momentum. Trump may have done the right thing by opening a conversation with Putin. We are by no means there yet. We don't yet know whether Putin is just buying time or negotiating in good faith. We'll know more once this trilateral meeting takes place.